3 major changes to Social Security that lawmakers are now considering. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. Alright, along with everything else going on right now in regards to new bills, pieces of legislation, and of course reform to the Social Security program that would ultimately raise benefits, increase solvency, change the way that the annual cost of living adjustment is calculated, as well as increase the minimum guaranteed benefit, as well as a variety of other major changes, lawmakers are now considering at least 3 other major changes that they may want to bring in to the Social Security program. That's exactly what I want to focus on right here in this video, because I do know that a lot of you right here in the community do receive fixed income benefits. Therefore, I want to lay this all out for you, let you know what they're currently thinking and how this may impact you and your monthly benefit going forward. So let's get into it and discuss all of those details. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you want to stay updated with anything going on right now in regards to money, benefits, Social Security, retirement, SSDI, survivors, SSI, VA, RRB, low income, no income, seniors, older adults, people with disabilities, as well as checks, monthly checks, as well as programs, and anything else going on right now, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video. It's totally free to do so, and I'm here for you right by your side every single day to keep you updated with all of these moving parts as things are changing very rapidly, as we're also getting new bills and proposals on a very regular basis out of many different lawmakers right now, and I want to keep you posted with what is actually going on, any programs or anything out there that we can take advantage of, and how this may impact you and your monthly benefit going forward. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and I'll continue to be here for you to keep you updated with what is actually going on right now during this very busy time. Alright, thanks again. Let's jump into it and discuss all the details as far as what lawmakers are now thinking as far as what they want to do to change Social Security. Alright, let's get into it. So, this is actually a very important point because as of right now, across all of those programs that I just mentioned a few seconds ago, there are over 70 million beneficiaries that receive benefits every single month. So as you can see, it is very important to keep a pulse on what is actually going on as far as what lawmakers are considering. Well, over the last few weeks and even over the last few months here, we've seen multiple different proposals coming out of Congress as far as what they want to do to change the program, increase solvency, raise benefits, a whole variety of different things that we've talked about in previous videos. However, there are now 3 major changes that they are now considering, and I want to lay these out for you. Now, here's the thing. Through all of these other bills and pieces of legislation that are currently out there now to change Social Security and do all of these other things that they want to do to the program, provided if they actually get any of these things done, or maybe they get nothing done. The fact of the matter is they need to do something, and we've talked about this in previous videos. However, they may be offering some different concessions right now. In other words, they're coming to the table and saying, maybe we can't do all of these things within maybe like the Social Security for Futures Generations Act, which was introduced by Al Lawson, or the Social Security 2100 introduced by John Larson, or even the SSI Restoration Act introduced by a handful of Democratic senators. Those are just a couple of them, even including the newly revised Social Security Expansion Act. So, these are just a handful of the different pieces of legislation that are currently out there now to change some of these programs out there. However, some of the lawmakers are now coming forward and agreeing that, hey, maybe we can't actually do all of these things that they want to do, but we do recognize that we do need to make some major changes to Social Security. So here's what they're coming back with. So again, I'm going to lay these out for you one by one here. There's 3 of them. And these are actually kind of important to pay attention to because maybe they don't actually do some of these other promises that they've thrown out there, like raising benefits or increasing benefits to the federal poverty line, or a variety of other changes that they may want to implement. But instead, they might give everybody the shaft and say, just kidding, we're going to do these other changes instead. That's why it's very important to understand this, because a lot of people here are wondering, when are we going to get more benefits? When are we going to get a raise to our benefits? These are very important questions. I totally agree with you. And a lot of people are wondering the same thing, and a lot of people are waiting for some raises to benefits. But again, lawmakers might slip right on by and say, just kidding, we're going to do these other changes instead. So here's what they're thinking. Number one, and again, just stick with me on these. There's 3 of them, so let me talk you through the details about these. Number one, they recognize that there is some major solvency issues with Social Security. So they're considering possibly garnishing some of the benefits of higher income beneficiaries and taking that benefit and making sure that the program remains solvent for many more years to come, and possibly even giving some of that benefit to the lower income individuals. So kind of interesting, right? So Social Security obviously is based on how many years of service you have, your average earnings over the 35 years that you've had of service, and then of course all these other details as far as your work record, payrolls, and stuff like this, how much money you've essentially made over the 35 years that they look at to determine how much your benefit is going to be. Well, those people that have had a high income for the vast majority of those years have, by default, a much higher benefit. Well, what they're considering is that maybe we're going to take some of these higher income beneficiaries, some of their benefit, shave it off a little bit, and then shuffle that money back to the lower income beneficiaries, or just plain old not give it to anybody, but rather keep it in the Social Security Trust Fund to make sure that it remains solvent for many more years to come. Well, as you can probably imagine, there is some pushback on that where they're saying, this isn't really fair if we're cutting the benefits down for the higher income beneficiaries. And then some other people are also saying, this is totally fair. If somebody has a higher income and they made a whole bunch of money throughout their entire working career, they can probably afford to sacrifice a few $100, $100, $500, $1,000 a month, and then keep that money back in the trust fund, or send that money back into the lower income beneficiaries. So again, this is just one idea that's being floated out there, but this is one of the major changes that they're considering. Next, they're potentially considering pushing out the full retirement age. So as of right now, the full retirement age is obviously anywhere between 66 and 67. Anybody born after 1960, the full retirement age is 67. However, they're looking at the situation and thinking, well, life expectancies have actually gone up. Therefore, people are living a lot longer these days. We could probably push out the full retirement age from 67 to possibly 68, 69, or possibly even 70. This would prevent a lot of people from getting benefits at the age of 67. Therefore, it would increase the solvency of the program by quite a bit, because millions and millions of people would not be able to start drawing on their benefits at the age of 67, 68, things like this. So as a result of that, this would increase the solvency by a lot and ultimately make sure that beneficiaries that are currently receiving benefits remain getting their full promised benefit for many more years to come, versus that major cliff that we're seeing out about 13 years from right now in 2035, when they're only going to be able to pay out about 80% of promised benefits. In other words, a 20% reduction in benefits would be happening pretty much immediately. So they're trying to avoid that, right? They see the cliff out there and they know it's coming. They know it's a very far away, distance away, but they also recognize they need to do some major changes to it. Next, the other change that they are now considering again, and sidestepping all of these other changes that they may want to do, but again, they could do any of them at any given time. I'm just simply saying these are some of the changes that they are considering in conjunction with some of the other pieces of reform, like increasing solvency, adjusting the COLA, as well as increasing benefits, the minimum guaranteed benefit, all kinds of different things. Now, the next one would be raising the cap on payroll taxes. So as of right now in 2022, the maximum amount that somebody would pay in payroll taxes for Social Security is $147,000. Any money earned over $147,000 is exempt from Social Security taxes. Well, as a result of that, they're looking at the situation saying, this is an easy money grab right here, where they can just start raising that cap up. For anybody earning over $147,000, they would have to pay taxes for Social Security on any income over that. Well, as of right now, any income over that is exempt from Social Security taxes. So they're just looking at the situation saying, this would be an easy money grab. All we could do is just put it infinite. Any money over 147, or virtually all income, is then subject to Social Security taxes, and they're saying this would generate hundreds of billions of dollars of tax revenues for the Social Security Trust Fund, and ultimately make sure that it is solvent for many more years to come. However, one major problem. Many lawmakers are saying, no way, we're not going for that. We're not going to support any additional tax increases on Social Security. So That is one other thing that they are considering. And again, all of these could be implemented at any given point. Realistically, based on what I'm seeing here, what it's likely going to come down to is probably increasing the full retirement age. Across everything that I've been reading on this and all the details I've been researching on this, one consensus that all of these lawmakers are now considering and becoming more comfortable with is raising the full retirement age. I would anticipate this is probably what it's going to be, in conjunction with possibly some other adjustments going forward. Maybe they raise payroll taxes a little teeny tiny bit. Maybe they bump that cap up on earnings to maybe 170, maybe 180, maybe $200,000, but maybe that's it. Or maybe they implement some other changes, as in where they want to, implement some of these other things, as in maybe shaving down the maximum benefit for the higher income individuals. But then the pushback on that is they're saying, now if we do that, it's turning into an entitlement program. And they're saying, no, this is not an entitlement program, never has been, and they don't want it to turn into that. Therefore, they're saying, we can't do that because it's going to change the dynamic of the program, right? So it's like you pay in and you get back, based on what you've paid in. So they're saying this is kind of a program based on, earnings and lifetime earnings and all these things over the 35 years. So you can see here, it's a hot button issue for sure, where these lawmakers are pretty much clueless on what to do going forward. They don't know a good solution, but ultimately they will come together on something, and these are a few of the 3 major changes that they are now considering. And I wanted to lay this out for you because they're likely going to go down one of these paths here, right? And it could be a variety of all of them. And in the event of that, they may sidestep some of these other major pieces of reform, like the Social Security for Futures Generation Act, Al Lawson, the Social Security 2100, John Larson, the Social Security Expansion Act, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and other Democratic senators, as well as the SSI Restoration Act, along with so many other pieces of legislation that are out there now to reform these programs. Anyway, as you can see here, a lot of moving parts. Either way, as I do get more details, of course, I'll be right here for you, breaking it all down, letting you know how this is going to impact you and what they're going to be doing to these programs. So again, please enjoy your day. Until next time, have a good one. Enjoy. Go back and subscribe to the channel by hitting that button right down below the video. Go and check out some of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. And of course, share this one or any others here on the channel with your friends, family, and social media. Thanks again. I truly appreciate it. Until next time, have a nice day, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.